Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm going to try something different here. I'm going to wing a video. Normally I do research and plot out stuff. I'm going to try to wing this one. I got the rule book in front of me, and here we go. Hellbores. For those of you who don't play Starfleet battles, a Hellbore is a really nasty weapon. It was designed by the Hydrants. The Hydrants used to be slaves of the Klingons, but they had a slave revolt and broke free. Now they are their own kingdom, and they have their own weaponry and blah, blah, blah. Hydrants have some of the best fighters in space. They have fusion beams. They have Hellbores as heavy weapons. They have all kinds of neat stuff. I'm not really happy with fusion beams. Hellbores, on the other hand, those are nasty. I like them. I don't like running against them, but I like running them. They're really great weapons. The way Hellbores work, the Hellbore is an example of Hydrant development of fusion technology. It fires, I'm going to read directly from the book here for a second. It fires an ultra-velocity fusion bomb. Upon striking the target, it spreads over the entire ship by a special magnetic field and then implodes. Due to the nature of the shields themselves, more damage is done to the weakest shield than any other. In game terms, what that does, your enemy ship's here and you're here, you fire the Hellbore, it hits, it surrounds the ship and implodes inwards, doing half the total damage on the weakest shield. If the weakest shield is down, all that's internal. So the whole point of maneuvering to keep a weak shield away from the enemy is nullified. They find the weakest shield no matter what. Hellbores are nasty. If you have four Hellbores or whatever firing in mass, it can be devastating, because two of the whole damage of a Hellbore, two of those, half the damage, total damage, goes directly into that weak shield. And if it's down, it's all internal. It's just nasty. Now, what I like mainly about Hellbores is their chance to hit. Instead of, and their range. You have a range of like 40 hexes. They have an overload feature as well. The base damage starts at 20 and ends at 4. So it does good damage at range 0, at 0 to 1. At range 2, you need to roll a 10. 1 to 2, you need to roll a 10 to hit. Excuse me. At 0 to 1, you need to roll an 11 on 2d6. At range 2, you need to roll a 10 on 2d6. A 10 or less. So the chance to hit is really, really good. This is by far, in my opinion, by far the best weapon that the Hydrants developed. Fusion beams are nice. They're like kind of like the poor man's disruptor. They take a lot of damage. They can do some good damage, but they're not as effective as disruptors, in my opinion, because they have a cooldown period and blah blah blah. Hellbores, on the other hand, are just nasty. Like I said, they have a range of 40, and you still, on 2d6, you need to roll a 5 or less in order to hit, and it still does 4 points of damage. So it can be very, very effective. The reason I like the firing chart on the Hellbore is because the ECM shift, no matter what it is, if the enemy has more ECM than you have ECCM, and there's a shift, that shift is effectively cut in half because you're using 2 dice instead of 1 to try to hit. It minimalizes the ECM, defensive ECM shift of the opponent. So it works in your favor if you're firing the Hellbore. This is just a nasty, nasty weapon. When the other day my son and I were playing, and I made it a point to stagger my salvos so that I took out his heavy weapons, because his ship had 4 Hellbores. He's like a little pit bull terrier or whatever, because when he only had 1 weapon left and it was a Hellbore and he still wanted to fight. My point is, I tried to eliminate those Hellbores as quickly as I could because I knew what they could do. When you're dealing with a direct fire weapon, they're nasty because you can't use, the only thing you've got to stop it is ECM and shields, defensive electronic warfare and shields. Once they get through the shields, direct fire weapons can be very devastating. Especially overloaded weapons. Now, overloaded Hellbores are nasty as well. They take a lot of power to arm, but oh my god, they're worth it. A standard Hellbore at range, we'll say range 5. A standard Hellbore does 13 points. An overloaded Hellbore does 19. Most ships with Hellbores have more than one. So if you have a down shield and you get hit with an overloaded Hellbore at range 5, that down shield is going to do 19 internal points automatic. Nobody can laugh at that. I don't know of any player in the game that'll laugh at that. If they do, they're not bright. I don't care how good of a player they are, they're not that bright. So yeah, if you get a chance to run Hydrants, Hellbores are nasty. They're wonderful weapons. Pair them. Now keep in mind, Hydrants, whenever they run their ships, almost every ship in the Hydrant inventory is a carrier of some type. They have fighters. Their fighters have fusion beams and phaser gatlings, and I talked about those. I haven't done one on fusions yet, but I might. As far as the phaser gatlings goes, 4 phaser 3s, and if you have any great number of fighters, those en masse can drop a shield easily. 4 phaser 3s are nothing to laugh at. Add in the fusion beams, and stasis, and then the fighters peel off. So you have the fighters go in and rake the shields and down as many of as they can, and then you pound them with your Hellbores. It's just nasty. Oh my god, nasty. The Hydrants have some of the best fighters in space, arguably the best fighters in space, and their fast patrol ships are nothing to laugh at either. So, pair those with your Hellbore, which has great range. So you're fighting this Hydrant. He's sitting out at range 20. His fighters say he's got a half a dozen fighters, 6 of them, and they're in pounding on your ship. I try to kill Hydrant fighters as quickly as I can because I know what they can do. They've got fusions, they've got phaser gatlings, and they're just raking your shields and dropping them. You can kill several of his fighters, and then they peel off and go away. They make their strafing run, and then they fly off. And then that Hydrant heavy ship over there, the cruiser, with its 4 Hellbores, I'm firing my Hellbores at you, with all those down shields. Yeah, it can be a nightmare. Hydrant ships are some of the hardest ships in the game to fight. They are nasty. If you have one that's just armed with fusions, it's not so bad. You get them with Hellbores, and oh my god, it's a nightmare. So yeah, if you get a chance, try running Hydrants. Try running against Hydrants. It becomes nasty. Now, one thing I want to mention here. The Hydrants are bordered by the Klingons and the Lyrans. The Lyrans and the Hydrants do not get along. The Klingons and the Hydrants do not get along. The Lyrans and the Klingons have a tenuous alliance. The Lyrans have a weapon, a device called an expanding sphere generator, ESG. Essentially, it's a big bubble around their ship, and it does damage to whatever contacts it. It's great for defense against drones, which is what it was designed for, because they're also enemies with the Kzintis. But it's also good to go through minefields. The problem with an ESG is they attract Hellbores like a magnet. So yeah, running a Lyran against Hydrants is even worse. Just saying. I hope this finds everybody well. I hope everybody enjoys playing Starfleet battles. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.